Hello everyone, this is Chelsea from Those with Words. Welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to share my Commonplace book, which I have discussed previously on my channel. I talked about it in my Techo Kaigi video and my recent updated stationery favorites video. This is the cafe note in the B6 slim size from the brand Nanami Paper. And this is what I am keeping my Commonplace notes in right now. I started setting this up in late 2024 and I'm carrying it over into 2025 without really a stopping date for my Commonplace book. This notebook has a plain grid layout, which I really like, and it has 384 pages, which I find to be quite generous. I have also always enjoyed the B6 slim size, so I am excited to use this notebook. This is a cover from 1.61 Soft Goods, and I purchased this way back as a part of their Black Friday sale in 2023. It already has some patina from just me keeping it on my desk for quite some time. And this is actually a clip that I took a long time ago of when I was just setting this up. So here I am just placing the notebook into this cover. This is the Jibun Techo B6 slim size cover. And because I know that the B6 slim size can be different across brands. For instance, the Midori MD B6 slim notebook is smaller than the Nanami Paper B6 slim size and the Jibun Techo B6 slim size. But these two I knew were the same size, the Jibun Techo and the Nanami Paper. So as you can see there, even though this is a lot thicker than the Jibun Techo Mini, it fits really well. And I really enjoy how thin and minimal this cover is with the pocket in the front. So that is me briefly setting up the Commonplace book when everything was pretty much new to me. And here I am in the present day showing you my Commonplace book and how it's been going so far. I have a pretty simple setup really, so I will kind of show you what I've done so far, and I think I will also show in this video the process of me actually updating this notebook. Just to let you know, I did pre-record this video a little while ago, so if the entries don't seem super up to date, that is probably why. But in this clip, I'm showing you again where the notebook is from. The notebook also comes with this pink blotter paper, which I find really handy if you're writing a lot with fountain pens. This has Tomoe River paper in it, and the notebook in particular that I have has the old Tomoe River paper inside, which I really love. The first few pages are empty. I left it empty for a potential table of contents later down the line, which I still haven't quite decided how I'm going to approach. And I first started out with some book notes, which I denoted with the silver circle sticker. Here's a brief color key that I'm using. I'm only using 5 different categories right now. And that might change as the Commonplace book keeps going, but a lot of advice that I read on Commonplace books and from videos and such just recommended that you start with some simple categories that you find applicable to what you want to use the Commonplace book for. And then later on, you can always add more. So those are the 5 colors that I'm using. And I picked those circle stickers specifically because they match the 5 mild liners that I have. Well, I do have one more color, which is the yellow mild liner, but I don't have any yellow circle stickers. So here are the 5 that I have, and I thought In case I run out of those circle stickers at one point, which were a gift from a friend, then I can just substitute and use the mild liners to denote the category instead without having to change up the colors in the middle of the book. And I really like the front pocket in the cover for this because I can just keep them there, and it's a really good location for the stickers. So back to the flip through. Like I said, I started out with some book notes, and these are copied over from a very old Google Doc that I had. It's one of those things where you look at some stuff. This one now is from an article where you take some notes down onto a Google Doc and you never look at them again. So instead of just leaving them there, I decided to port everything over. Now begins the category of just inspiration, and these are a lot of the Instagram posts that I had saved because I found them really inspirational, whether they're, spreads, artwork, different products that I really like. Whether it's for aesthetic reasons or something else, I just really enjoy these photos, and I had saved a bunch of them, and they're from all kinds of different creators. I, wrote their account down and everything for each photo. But again, similar to the Google Docs, I never looked at them again. So I decided to dig everything out, print everything, and then I put them here. For these quotes, I got heavy inspiration from My Life Mitz, who watercolors a lot of quotes into her Hobonichi books. So I found some quotes that I was also sitting on. I particularly like that stationery quote there, which I think is pretty well known. And so I had fun doing that with watercolor. And then the purple category is for tutorials. So these are maybe some videos or Instagram posts where they describe how to do certain things. And I wanted to capture that, so I drew some things and I wrote down some instructions from various creators. And then the same category kind of continues. I took some book notes here in Korean. Then here it goes back to some visual inspiration of some planners and books that I found in interesting layouts. Then it goes back to quotes. And right there, I messed up the quote, so I had to do a little correction afterwards, which is fine, it happens. So yeah, I number the pages myself. At the very bottom of each page in the corner, as you can see. And I just keep going without too much structure, other than, what I already put down in terms of categories. I don't really have a strict way of approaching this book, and I just keep going, like I mentioned, as inspiration strikes and as things just come into my life. These are some of the things that I'm going to add to the Commonplace book now. I print everything on matte sticker paper so that it's really easy for me to stick them into this book. And this particular matte sticker paper, which I'll link in the description box below, is pretty thin, so it's not super thick photo paper or anything. So it does keep some bulk to a minimum, in my opinion. And it doesn't really snag on the thin Tomoe River paper in this book. I also have my paper bin there just so I can put the backing of the sticker paper into there, and then I have some fountain pens at the ready to write with. I'm just referring back to my color key just to make sure that I can put down the right sticker for it. And in this instance, the sticker that I want to use is green. So I will go ahead and place that first on the top right corner. And again, there's no hard rule about this either. I don't know why I chose to put the stickers on the top right hand corner. I just think that's where I tend to look whenever I look for certain categories of things or references for things. So that is what I decided, and it's been working well for me. I'll probably talk about this again later, but I don't put the circle sticker on every single page as I go. I only put it there when the category changes. So right now I'm just pasting the photos that I printed. This one in particular is about a planner from the brand Analog Keeper. And it's their monthly book, which I found so interesting because it's like a A5 slim size book, and you turn it around and you use it sideways. And it has monthly pages as well as open note pages in the back, but that's pretty much all it has. And I thought it would be such an interesting idea to use a book like that for a media log or even something like creative planning. It is not in my lineup for 2025, but whenever I see interesting books like this, I like to write about them and kind of think about them at the back of my head. And maybe I will consider it for another year where it potentially suits my needs. So I usually start these entries by writing about the exact item that I am referencing. And if they have an Instagram account or a YouTube account, I also make sure to jot that down. And I wanted to keep this real time without skipping around too much because this is how I write my thoughts in the Commonplace book. It's usually in full sentences because that's how my mind flows better. I suppose I can summarize these points into bullet points instead, and that'll probably be easier visually to look at later on instead of having to read through everything that I wrote in paragraph form. But when I'm writing and when the thoughts are flowing, I find it hard to pause and summarize things in a bullet pointed format. And because this is all done in an analog way, I just figured I will go into it in the most natural way that it comes to me, and then I can figure out how to reorganize some of this stuff later on if I really wanted to. So the first bit there that I just finished, I wrote about the planner itself and the layout. And then in the second photo, or next to the second photo, I'm just kind of writing about what I discussed before in terms of, oh, this might be interesting as a, creative project tracker or logging media. I also took a look at the measurements of this particular monthly book, and I think it's similar to the Jibun Techo A5 slim size, if I'm not completely mistaken. I looked at the millimeter measurements, which is why I was so intrigued because that size is a really good size to use as is already without flipping it this way. But this book pretty much just requires you to use it flipped sideways the entire time. I suppose the open notes pages you don't have to use that way, but the monthly pages are definitely intended for use sideways. And now I'm writing about how the only thing I'm not certain on is whether or not the paper is fountain pen ink friendly. I think a lot of Korean brands are now coming out with fountain pen friendly paper, and certain brands have always had fountain pen friendly paper, but there are certain other brands that use just regular paper that may not always be fountain pen ink friendly, which is not a requirement for me or anything when I consider planners or books, but it is something to note, right? If you can't use fountain pens on it. So I was just writing about how I'm not really sure about that. But nonetheless, the layout itself and everything is so interesting to me that I might consider it for 2026, which sounds really funny to talk about right now. And then I finish it off by numbering the page. So that is a completely real-time look at how long it takes for me to write about a product that I found really intriguing and that I wanted to log in my Commonplace book. Overall, once I decide to write about something, it really doesn't take that long, and I keep it pretty decoration free. Afterwards, I added 2 more pages where on the left-hand side, I talked about the Nolte graph note in the mini 6 size, which has the same layout as my Nolte 1180 that I used in 2024, but in the mini 6 ring size format, which I thought was really cool. And then on the right-hand side, I wrote about the Okayama Coffee Festival and how they collaborated with the artist Ming to create these really lovely goodies. And I just love the look of it. I love the idea of the coffee festival in Okayama. So I decided to write about that there. And I think this is where I wanted to show that I only put the green color sticker for the inspiration category just once because it changed from book notes to the inspiration category. But on these 2 last pages, I did not place the green sticker there because it's just a continuation of the same exact category. And if on the next page the category changes, then that's where I'll place the different colored circle sticker to just give me a quick visual reference as to say, hey, I am done talking about some of the inspirational things now, and now I'm talking about articles from notes, or here is a different tutorial, for example. And that will just give me a quick visual cue on the top right-hand side. So that is pretty much how I keep my Commonplace book in order. I hope to provide an update at some point with how the table of contents in the front is going and whether or not I've decided to expand on different categories. Here, I just quickly wanted to show you the lovely patina that's developing on this cover, and it is a very much completely natural leather cover. So it absorbs everything, like all the oils from my hands, and there's some random things there that I don't know how they got there, but I really enjoy using this book. I hope you enjoyed this video and take care until the next one. Bye.